One of the most important benefits of having bitachon in Hashem in this world is that you don't have to worry about anything. Yochanan, you worry about things?
Of course.
Too young to worry. You got everything. You got good looks. You got a good brain. Great smile. What do you have to worry about?
Sometimes about very mundane things like...
What's for lunch? Well, I can tell you what the lunch schedule is. Sunday is noodles. Monday is called Mystery Monday. Right? Because you never know what you're going to get on Monday. Tuesday is the baked ziti. Wednesday is tuna and kugel. Thursday is going to be fish. And Friday you're going to get whatever they have leftovers. They're going to give it to you for Friday lunch. You have to worry about lunch. Wednesday night schnitzels? Huh? Trust Hashem. You will have stress-free life. Rest from worrying about not having what your body desires. If you trust Hashem, you know that all your physical needs are going to be met from Hashem. Now don't tell me, but Rabbi, I have certain needs and they're not being met in Yeshiva. We're not going there. Okay? We're not going back to the shower buddy business. Right, Lenny? Shower alone. Unless you're going to the mikveh. And no, you do not introduce yourself to people in the mikveh. Just go in, go out, and that's it. Right, Blake? And so you will be in a state of tranquility, calmness, and have bitachon in this world. You don't have to worry about what will be. Now I know all of you are saying to me, Rabbi, you got to be kidding me. What does that mean? I can't just trust. But things don't get done if I trust. It's not true. If you have a high level midah of bitachon in Hashem, so you know that if you did the right hishtadlus, you don't have to worry about the consequence because it's not up to you. You don't have the ability to guarantee anything in this world. Can you guarantee that you'll make a lot of money? No. Can you guarantee that you're going to be wealthy if you put 80 hours a week? No. Or if you become a massage therapist? No. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Wealthy.
Just wealthy. Were you born wealthy?
No.
So you're going to marry wealthy?
I wouldn't mind.
Sign up. You got to sign up. We have a list of guys who want to marry wealthy.
Is there a WhatsApp group?
No, there's nothing to be WhatsApping about. You just put yourself on the list and you just wait when your turn comes and see what happens. What? You want to be on the list?
I'm just curious how long the list is. Like, if there's only 5 people.
4.
4?
4. You want to be on the list? You want to marry a wealthy Yemenite Houthi girl? Said, told you about my neighbor. My neighbor comes to me. He's Yemenite. He knocks on the door one day, and he says, "It's Motzei Shabbat." He says, "Can I borrow your Scotch tape?" I said, "I don't think I have Scotch tape." He goes, never mind. I'll use my own. Like, what? Scotch tape. What are you coming to me for? You have it. You go use yours. What do you? Okay, I guess I'll use mine.
He wanted to give you a mitzvah.
Yeah, he wanted to give me a mitzvah. In certain languages, we say b'choda. Translate. Like, really? That's what he wanted? Baruch hagever asher yiftach b'Hashem v'Hashem haya miftacho. Blessed is the man who trusts in Hashem, and Hashem was his only trust. Trusting Hashem means that you're trusting Him to take care of whatever it is. Not I'm trusting Him, but on the other hand, I'm playing lotto, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Trust Hashem. Yes, sir.
Where's the line between you having to put in your own effort and trusting Hashem?
Ishtadlis, which is your effort, is a necessary component. But what's the most important thing is to believe, or maybe better verb is to understand, that your ishtadlis guarantees no results. No results are guaranteed because you worked hard. Ishtadlis is something that you have to do. So I have to get up in the morning and go to work. Whether I succeed in the job, if I even get the job, if I keep the job, that has nothing to do with my exertion or effort. It is simply what Hashem wants. And I trust that whatever He does is for my benefit. Now, Hishtadlus has to be, Yochanan, realistic to what you're trying to achieve. For example, if you want to marry wealthy, you have to do the right things in order to marry wealthy. Now, I don't know what it is. I didn't marry wealthy, so I don't know what the steps are. But let's say there are steps. Let's say you want to marry. You want to marry a girl that is religious and modest and good midos and is a hard worker and values Torah learning. Okay, let's say that's the girl you're looking for. Well, you're not going to find that in Machne Yehuda. You're not going to find that on the train going, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? That's not happening. Going to every bar in Yerushalayim saying, I'm looking for a seminary girl that's really, modest, loves Torah, and loves to hang out in bars with guys who are... That's not ishtadlus. You want to be successful in life, you want to make money, make a living, you have to do something that in the way that the world works, you have a chance. I've been working with Moses since he's been here, explaining it to him that if he wants to be successful in life, being a ballet dancer for Haredi boys, that's not going to work. Wants to open a Chabad school for ballet. Not going to happen, man. Tanya and ballet, It's like not going to happen. You have to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? So is it realistic to make a living being a massage therapist? Yes. Yeah. Is it guaranteed? Kadosh Baruch Hu guarantees whatever it is. If you want to marry rich, that's a plan, okay. But you should have a realistic al piteva plan. And what is that? That is, if you don't marry rich, but you meet a girl, hi, how are you? I'm good. Do you want to join us? Please. Okay, are you fully clothed? Yes. Come on in. You have to check, you notice that? Yeah. Who are you?
I'm Josh.
Josh what?
Gerhardt.
From?
Baltimore, originally Texas.
Oh, welcome.
I'm from Dallas.
I'm not. Nebraska. Yes.
Cornhuskers.
Cornhuskers in Lincoln. I was in Omaha, man. Don't ruin it. Yes. I don't know what you're saying.
I was asking myself. Anyway,
Here we go. There's somebody who's got split personality disorder.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Saying that us putting in the effort has no guaranteed outcome makes me think that I could do a legitimate, just be trying legitimately with all my effort at something that is like not ridiculous.
Correct.
Trying at that for weeks and weeks and weeks and just not getting any results, and it seems
Correct.
Yeah. And what are you supposed to do when that happens? Because it's supposed to work, but it's not working.
Well, it doesn't. When you say it's supposed to work, then it's a lack of trust in Hashem. If you trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you know that whatever needs to happen is going to happen, and therefore I have to do my ishtadlus. I mean, a lot of you, I can put myself in this camp. A lot of us are struggling in learning. Either we're new at it, or we're pushing ourselves. So we have to do what we call hishtadlus. You have to sit there with the dictionary, with the Rabbi Kaplan's notes, or Rabbi Schiller's notes, with the words, working on it, trying to make it work, and you're doing your hishtadlus. Is it guaranteeing that you're going to be now the greatest Talmid Chacham in the world? There are no guarantees. But you have to trust that if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, it's in the hands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to do what's best for me. And that's it. That's it. It's not easy sometimes because we tend to think that if I put in extra hours, I must see X results. No. Not really. Not really. Yes, sir.
It might have been asked already, but if that's the case,
That one, yeah, they asked. Okay, no, go ahead.
if that's the case, where does Hishtadlus end, and I guess Emunah begin? Like, where's the, like, okay, I've done enough reasonably, or I could always considerably do more?
So what I do when I have this question, I don't ask myself that. Because it could be that the reason I'm saying I've done enough is because I'm lazy, and I'm just saying it's bitachon. It's because I am frustrated or other reasons. So I have a conversation with my Rav and say, listen, here's my situation. Here's how I did the ishtadlus. Is it sufficient ishtadlus? And if my Rav says, you did good, you don't need to do any more, then it's done. So you have somebody that you check with that is going to say, no, you've done reasonable ishtadlus. It means that now leave it in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're done. So they said, but the solution didn't appear yet. First of all, I'm not so sure the solution has to appear. But it means that maybe the efforts need to be redirected to more spiritual avenues, such as tefillah. That is one of the most powerful tools that we have to shape our future. Is there something that Hashem cannot give you? No. If you want, for example, to grow in your learning, if you want to be the next success story of Ohr Somayach, then as many hours that you're sitting and working, it has to be accompanied with tefillah. From your heart to Hashem, asking, Hashem, please, I want to do this because I want closeness to you. I want to be able to learn. This is important to me. This is what you want me to do. This is what I want to do. I want to make you happy. And you will see. Siyata Dishmaya, you will see. I've seen it here. I've seen it. We had cases of, there was a guy who came here who was in a coma for a while, and it affected him. Okay? Affected him. He had challenges in his speech, mental capabilities. He had, Mamish was diagnosed, everything was, but he wanted to learn Torah. He worked very, very hard. And he went through all the shiurim that we had in Mechina. He was at the top shiur, one of the top students. And when his father came to Israel, he sat in the Beis Medrash and learned with his father for the first time. And his father was in tears. He couldn't believe it. Till this day, that's sort of our standards. That Hashem gave him an ability that he clearly did not have before. He didn't. Al piteva, it wasn't going to work. And we were during the process, we're like, whatever, however he'll get. But he dived into Hashem, he worked hard, he did his earthly hishtadlus, he did spiritual by praying, and Hashem opened doors for him. Unbelievable. So I don't want to, I'm not saying chas v'shalom that any of you are at that level, but there is no one that Hashem is going to block from truly achieving success in learning if you really want it. Yes. Even the moose. So, okay. The human body, when it's engrossed or enveloped by stress, causes a lot of problems for human beings. But if you have trust in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you live in such a way that you're not putting a lot of stress and pressure on your own body. There are people who work a lot of hours, 80 hours, running around, flying around the world, traveling for business. It takes a huge toll on the body. He says, somebody who trusts the Kadosh Baruch Hu, he says, no, they know they don't need it. And now this is where we are. And there was a guy who was an ascetic in the beginning of his spiritual growth. He used to travel for business, and he went to some country far away to try to make some money. Okay? Remember the Silk Road during the Middle Ages? Was going from China all the way to the Middle East, to Europe, through India, through Afghanistan, into Iran, Iraq, Syria, all the way, Egypt sometimes, depending if they went through the coast or they went through the King's Highway, all the way. People used to do this. The Rambam's brother was in the jewelry, in the precious stone business. That's where the family was making a living. And he would sail he lived in Egypt, and he would travel to Sudan, and then from Sudan sail to India. And that's not going on a cruise today. You just read Rabbi Halevi's when he describes that he was taking a ship from Spain to go to Egypt. And that's 12th century. Read Ibn Ezra. Ibn Ezra was taken captive by pirates. So he says there was a man who used to travel very far. And wherever he went, whatever that location is, you name whatever it is. Let's say he went to Africa, I don't know. And he met somebody there that was an idol worshiper. And the person says, you guys are blinded. and you don't understand what you're doing when you're worshiping idols, statues made out of wood and stone. And so the person says, so what are you worshiping? Fair question, right? So he says, I worship the creator of the universe, who sustains every human being in the world. Is there anybody in this world that doesn't get sustained by Hashem? Don't tell me your neighbor in Baku. Every human being is sustained by Hashem. In the middle of this is a climatic story. You want to hear the end, or you want to ask a question now? Dan, you ready? This is a powerful story. Pay attention. So he says to him, the idol worshiper says, I don't understand you. You're contradicting yourself. What's the contradiction? He says, you told me that God sustains everyone in this world. So therefore, God would sustain you whether you stayed in your country or whether you came over here. Correct? And so, if that were true, why did you bother come all the way over here? You didn't need to come all the way over here for sustenance. Hashem would have given you just as much money over there than when you traveled over here. And so he says to him, he says, the Chovos Halevavos says that the Jewish person had no response to this idol worshiper. The idol worshiper says, look, I have to stay over here and worship these because they sustain me. If I go over there, they won't take care of me, so I have to stay here. But you say that this is the God of the universe, and God of the universe sustains you or whoever you are, so why did you come over here for money? You could have stayed over there for money. You hear the kasha? It means you have a lack of bitachon. The reason that you're traveling and you're doing all of this is because you have a lack of bitachon in Hashem. Yes.
When someone's going through a lot of tsaris, is it appropriate to talk to them about bitachon? Meaning, in other words, is there ever a situation where it might be better to wait a little bit? Or it's always appropriate?
What do you mean?
So someone's going through like a loss of a relative.
And? So therefore, and you want to speak to the person.
And speak to them, is it appropriate to say like trust Hashem, that they're in a good place, or maybe it's better not to at that time?
Well, there are halachas for somebody who is in mourning. And the halacha is the first few days, 3 days, we don't address the avel, we wait for the avel to speak to us. Because we don't know what state of mind he's in. So therefore we let him dictate the conversation. And we more listen and react rather than shift the conversation to what we're looking for. Okay? But if it's, let's say we're not dealing with that situation. Let's say your friend calls you and says, oh my God, you won't believe it. Remember I was engaged to this girl, Abigail. She broke it off. She doesn't want to marry me. So now what? What do you say? First you say, you dodged a bullet. Let's dance. Let's dance. This is why. Because, what?
I said that's the right mentality.
Because for sure she wasn't your b'sher. And then you tell them my grandmother's line. Girls are like buses. If you wait long enough, another one will come by. Right? So that's one case. Now let's say somebody's dealing with health issues. So obviously you're not going to go, oh, you dodged a bullet. No, that's not. First, you have to understand that it's part of the human condition. And when somebody is ill and is going through suffering of illness and things like that he wants your support. He doesn't need now a shiur in bitachon in Hashem and amunah. And if you feel that you're getting the vibe that he needs chizuk, then you give him chizuk. If you feel that what he needs is just somebody to be there with him and help him, then that's the role.
How do you know?
You have to use your woman's intuition.
I thought Rabbi said we don't feel it here, we think.
It's true, but there are situations where you have to sort of feel the situation. It's true. Here we have theological discussions. We're not talking about, this idea makes me feel sad. Good, shkoyach. Go to the seminary and get a hug. Not! I could just see him standing, I need a hug, my rabbi told me. Cops come, drag him away. It's in a padded room with a white jacket. Avi, it's either you laugh at my jokes or you can't sit in the front row. That's how it is. I'm sorry. I know, they're not very good, but I got to keep it, family oriented. Dan, how much time don't I have?
Almost around like 18 minutes.
18 chai minutes. Chai. How do you say 18 in Tagalog?
18. Labing walong.
You're making stuff up. You don't even know. He said, when somebody asks me in one language that I know, I don't. Wait a second. I gotta take off my shoes here. What am I doing? Come on, Dan. Watch. What language do you speak at home with your parents?
It's in Persian and
So,
Turkish.
fine. Give us 18.
18.
There you go. You see? He didn't even take off his slippers. How do you say 18 in Russian? See how it works? Boom! Now, if French then becomes, a little tricky, because sometimes when they do their cheshbon, it's bizarre. You know how they say 80? 80. 420. That's how they say 80. 420. Yeah.
407 years ago?
420. So 90, 420, 10. 90. How do you say 99? 99. Like, 19 is 19. So it's 420. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I gotta write this down. Long math. Can't you say 80 like most languages? Just 8 and then make it. Nope. I'm not a big fan of the French culture. People, I don't, if I meet, I like people. But the culture? I know I have a whole bit of France. I'm, holding it. We're waiting for the next big EU battle with Trump. Then I can bring it all out and, back to the freedom fries and the freedom toast and all that good old stuff.
There's a battle now.
There's a battle now? What's the battle now?
The French warned him not to take Greenland.
And did we take Greenland?
They're thinking about it.
Thinking about it.
But specifically the French came out and said, no, the EU won't stand for it.
Good, then sit down. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Eat a croissant, drink a little bit of, just get going.
They're gonna burn their own streets and start riots.
They're gonna surrender before it starts.
Yeah, that's Tov. So this Jew returned to home, to his country, and stayed and did not go travel. And one of the things was he learned about the rest for his nefesh and his body, so that he had he had bitachon in Hashem. He also understood that nothing is necessarily keeping him from keeping the Torah. If you have bitachon in Hashem, you know that that's what Hashem wants. And therefore, you know that if you keep the Torah, you will not be harmed. It's very important. Okay, now there are the next 7 chapters. He says that the first chapter is going to deal with what is bitachon. The second chapter is 7 causes of what causes us to trust. He really thought about it. It's very, very systematic. Third is what are the prerequisites to having bitachon of Hashem. The fourth chapter is explanation of what is bitachon and how does good and bad relate to bitachon. He's not naive to say that if you have bitachon in Hashem, that's it. It's all cupcakes and cotton candy. You know what cotton candy is? Just checking. I don't know. They have it in Azerbaijan. But you don't call it cotton candy. Oh, well, wonderful. I'm going to line up for that booth. Do you have those annoying ice cream guys with the...
That's Turkish ice cream.
Yes?
Like this.
You like it?
No, I saw it on a video.
Ah, you saw in the video. How's the Philippine ice cream?
It tastes good. Yeah.
They give it to you though, or they play games?
No. There's ice cream stores everywhere.
Do you have frozen yogurt in the Philippines?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I'm learning about the world without traveling. I don't need to go anywhere.
Ask him about Halo Halo.
What?
Have you heard of this?
What?
Dan, tell
Yes,
Rabbi
I know.
about Halo Halo.
It's mixed dessert. It has what they call this.
Is it kosher? No. So what are you telling me about this?
It could be. It could be.
This it's a
There's
dessert.
Jello,
Dessert Jello.
among other things. It's a mishmash.
Jello?
Mixed with fruits and everything.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
Would you give up Olam Haba for this? No.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, people are willing to risk their lives for food. You know, they get on a plane, fly because this place has a, you know. Come on. What are you, a caribou? Crossing tundras for, you know, some grass, whatever. Tov. So, number 5 is the difference of how when somebody trusts Hashem and somebody doesn't, with regard to Parnasa. So for those of you who want to understand deeper the relationship between Hishtadlus and Parnasa, you have to wait for chapter 5. The 6th deals with people who are willing to trust Hashem only if they get what they want. That is, they have a conditional relationship with Hashem. You give me what I want, and I'll give you what you want. Does that work? Is that how it's supposed to work? And then the 7th is what causes you to lose bitachon. So those are what's coming ahead in the next few days. So what's the essence of bitachon? Chapter 1. فأما ماهية التوكل فهو سكون نفس المتوكل واعتماد قلوبه على المتوكل عليه أن يفعل به الأصلاح والعوفاق له في المعنى الذي يتوكل فيه عليه حسب طاقته وعلمه بما يفاقه. This is a very typical Arabic that sentences don't end. They just go on and on. I remember when I had to start translating it, it's just like, where does that... And Baruch Hashem, in Hebrew, it doesn't work that way. Hebrew has more sort of, it's not these long, flowery sentences. Some languages are very easy, the syntax, but in Arabic it's sort of drawn out with a lot of hal statements, conditional statements, and
English is also.
what?
English is also like that.
Like what? Very long sentences?
Yeah. William Faulkner. I don't know.
Well, first of all, if you're reading Faulkner, you got to do push-ups. Faulkner. That's not an example of English. That's an English writer, but it's not the end of the world. Did you read Mark Twain?
Yeah.
Doesn't have these long. Oh, thank God. So what did the Arabic say? That's the point. Instead of, you read William Faulkner. Everybody, I'm sure that's what we were talking about. What did you major in Berkeley?
Political economy.
Political economy. What department is that?
It's its own department.
That's only in Berkeley. So, what did it say? It says, with regard to the essence of bitachon, he's giving us the definition of bitachon now. Bitachon is the calmness of the nefesh of he who trusts and he rests upon the being that he trusts, that being would do what's best for him, what's most important in what he's trusting him, according to his ability and his knowledge of what's best for him. You mean you understood the sentence that I just translated? Kind of. Okay. I'll hold my hand because I don't want to forget what I want to say, so I'm holding it here. Go ahead.
So, when you say the bet, like the,
It's gone. What?
when Hashem has the best intention for us, what does the best mean? Like
Am I using the word the best in a controversial manner?
No, just in the sense of like there's sometimes what's like what we see is the best.
What's this bunny ears that people like to do? What is this?
It's
What are you trying to limit?
So well, it's like what I guess we would think is the best for us might not be the best for the world. Like there's the concept of like somebody, a kid who dies young, or like the people who never get married, things like that, where it's Hashem better plan for the world, but it's not the best for us. So which like.
Well, here the lashon is what's best for him. Bitachon is knowing that Hashem will do what's best and what's most appropriate for you.
As a singular person.
Yes.
So then how does that coincide with those cases?
Well, I'm not so sure. I don't hear the kasha.
Like,
But no, I don't hear the kasha. So if in the case of the two cases that you gave me, the examples, it just means that it is best for them, for whatever reason, that they should be in the situation that they're in. Now, if you think, so if somebody chas v'shalom dies young, okay, it might be, and I don't want to get into this, but because the death of, if we're talking about kids, children, there is a whole mahalach in the Ari HaKadosh explaining why children die and what happens to their neshamas and how does that work so that you could see why that is best. I don't want to get into, but so it could be from the perspective of this child that is the best of what? Leaving this world. For whatever reason. And for a person, let's say, not getting married, you might say, but, it might be that that's what's best for that person. Even though he might not see it as such. But if he has bitachon, then he needs to know that that is what's most appropriate and best for him. As long as he's not doing something that is against the will of Hashem and that therefore he's doing this to himself. For example, in Shidduchim, there are people who have certain standards of what they're willing to accept. They want height, weight, looks, if she's not blonde and it's not this, it's not, I don't want to give details, but I'm sure, you're an adult male, right? They don't want somebody looking like a chimpanzee, They don't want some girl with a mustache. They don't want to pay for laser treatments to remove hair off her back. Whatever. So they get these standards over here. They want the tzaddiket of the door, modest, holy, with money, with all of this, that she's an orphan. So I don't want to put up with my mother-in-law. Well, my friend, what are you bringing to the table? Well, what do you mean? Like we had a guy in Mechinas, like, Rabbi, doesn't the woman have to fulfill my fantasies? No! No, she doesn't have to do anything. If she agrees to go out with you, you should be, oh my God, thanking Hashem and dancing around her. But why? Ask your roommate why. Your body makes noises that usually farm animals only make. Some people have, so as long as the person is not doing that to himself, then for sure it's Hashem not giving him the shidduch of what's best for him. Because he's not ready to get married. Tov, Dan is very particular on Thursdays that we end on time. We'll stop here. We'll continue next time.